Morning and welcome to my Tarside Chat. You know, I just made, I just talked to the camera here for a good 10 minutes, and then my alarm went off and it stopped my videos. As it's 7:30 and I had a reminder that popped up. So I'm just gonna try and recap. I was making a lot of really good points too, and I make these videos and I don't take the time to go back and at this point, for the most part, I'm not going back and editing them on the computer until I get like my full studio back up and running at the house. I will recap. Here we are. It's February 24th, 2025. We're in the midst of a tumultuous time in the crypto market. Still, we had Bybit that was hacked on Friday. Just when Bitcoin was seeming to recover, it went up to 98.5, something around there. And I think the news of that hack came out. It was like $1.4 billion in Ethereum was stolen. And the markets immediately tanked back down. And we're still, it's still kind of a bloodbath this morning. After we were already swimming in an ocean of blood. This past month or so, I myself, being heavily into altcoins, am down considerably, as I know most people are. I mean, unless you're just holding Bitcoin, in which case you're down, maybe you're down 10% from the peak. So what I wanted to say was that, we're in this spot. Nobody knows what's going to happen. A lot of people are scared, and that's due to a lot of things. We're in a weird spot because of there's just a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty around macroeconomics of it all, what's going on with Trump and Elon Musk, and the economy and what Congress is going to do. There's dozens of different factors at play. There are a number of people in the crypto communities that I follow, and I try to follow a varied range of perspectives when it comes to cryptocurrency, in the different groups that I'm in, and then the YouTube channels that I follow, inside and outside of cryptocurrency, also just with economics in general and politics in general. I try to get a little bit of a broad range of perspectives, and then digest it and regurgitate it here as best I can. I feel like, what's his name? Pompliano, who I'd never really paid that much attention to until recently for whatever reason. I saw a video with him last week where he had a co-host with him. I forget her name, forgive me, but I kind of like a lot what he says, and I was liking a lot of what he was saying about, he was still really confident in this the upcoming bull run, and the markets are down right now and people are scared, but really this is the time you should be buying, which I tend to usually agree with. However, the more they were talking, and his co-host was kind of bringing up some counter arguments or questions to his theology, in that, he's confident in what the Trump administration is doing, and that we need to be running the country like a business, and this is what they're doing. They're running it like a business. And she was kind of coming back and saying, well, do we though? Is that really what we need? And I would have expanded on that even more and said, well, we're running this country not just like a business, but like a big business, with an equity firm involved who's coming in and just trying to slash expenses and create as many short-term gains as possible, with complete disregard for how things are going to be affected on the long term. And I recognize this because I've worked at companies like that, where that exact thing has happened, where And you know, the last company I was at, where it was like that, where I was being the IT person, and also the IT person who helped set up our new headquarters office in Houston. I worked closely with the CEO and the C-suite of people, and I also worked out in the plant with the workers on the bottom floor. And I talked to everybody, and you know, over the course of a few years, saw a company with that same mindset of, you know, the C-suite of people come in and they cut costs by looking at, oh, look, here's all these people that have been here for 25 or 30 years that are making way too much money. We're just gonna lay them all off or force them to retire early, and we'll replace some of them with recent college graduates and pay them, you know, 30% of what the previous people were getting. And while that looks good on paper, and you might see your shares, the value of your shares go up temporarily, in the long run, it winds up hurting the business, because you've cut out all that knowledge and experience, and the people with the know-how, the real know-how, to get things done and help the company function. And then also at the same time not doing anything for the people at the bottom who are really doing all the work, and they wind up leaving, going elsewhere, or they're just really unhappy, or they're, you know, not motivated to do anything. So that's my question, is that because that seems like that's what is being done. We're just kind of slashing things with complete disregard for the long-term effects, because while we can all agree that there's definitely inefficiency in government that needs to be addressed. One, are we looking at the right places? Two, could we be paying more attention to exactly what is being cut, who is being cut, and really, you're talking about laying off hundreds of thousands of people who've had good paying jobs for decades. How is that in itself, how's that going to affect the economy? I don't know, you know, what percentage of the unemployment rate that's going to, you know, tick in one direction or the other. Well, in the wrong direction. But I mean, all those people are going to be without jobs, and a lot of them are being laid off where they would normally have 60 days notice and some sort of severance. They're, you know, a lot of them are not getting that at all. I watched 60 Minutes last night, and they were interviewing people with it wasn't USAID, although I think they did a bit on USAID at one point. No, forgive me, but the Consumer Protection Agency, that was just basically completely shut down. Like it just doesn't exist. And they were interviewing a couple of people that had worked there, and that's regardless of what you think about that. There's people that were saying that we don't need the Consumer Protection Agency. That's what, like, Federal Trade Commission is supposed to be doing. But the Federal Trade Commission, the Consumer Protection Agency, was put into place after the 2008 banking crisis, because, I mean, the banking crisis happened and the Federal Trade Commission didn't do anything to stop that. And there was a number of things that led up to that, of course. But I think that regardless of whether or not you think that was there for a good reason, just as an example, all of those people, which I think there's only a couple thousand people at that agency. It wasn't a massive agency to begin with. And also, as far as cutting costs go, when you look at the federal budget as a whole, I don't think that was a significant thing to go after, unless, it's from the viewpoint of the tech bros and the Facebooks and the Amazons and people like Tesla, Elon Musk, who maybe want to go after, maybe they have other motivations for going after that agency that's trying to regulate their companies. When there's probably bigger fish you could be frying in terms of trying to cut the federal budget. I saw that there is talk of going after the military budget, or the Pentagon budget, because I mean, $700 billion or whatever a year that's in there, and they're still paying, the old adage about $500 for a toilet seat, $600 for a hammer, or whatever it is, that contractors are charging, and that's been going on for since the 90s at least. Maybe something should be done about that. I don't know, that would probably have ripple effects as well. I mean, everything you do is going to have ripple effects throughout the economy. So all that to say, I don't think I see quite the rosy picture long term that Pompliano does, or a lot of other people in the crypto community do, who 90% or more of them have all been so pro-Trump since well before the election, of course. Regardless of what your views are on everything else that he's doing, I think that I worry that people are a little bit blinded by his pro-crypto stance, and aren't really thinking about the long-term effects of what he's doing. I hope, just for us in the crypto community, that if nothing else, we could at least have some sort of an altcoin season this year. Maybe it won't be until this fall, when last year we were all thinking, oh, buy sell in May and walk away. I don't know. I mean, it's only February still, but we'll see. Depends on a lot of things. If Congress comes out with some sort of pro-crypto bill that gets passed, I know there was one that was floated last year that didn't make it, and maybe they'll revisit that. And if the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates, and if we go into sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. Quantitative easing, which we should be due for that, and the Fed essentially turns the money printers back on. Between that and the interest rates being lowered, that would be bullish, if that were to happen. Which I think it's really just a matter of time. And I know Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, since last year they've said that they were going to gauge what they do with interest rates based on the unemployment rate, and if it varies or if it goes up from the 3.4% I think that it's been at, then they're going to adjust interest rates as needed. So if we're laying off like half the federal workforce, I think that's going to affect the unemployment rate, and at which point maybe that'll force his hand to lower interest rates, which may affect the markets positively. I don't know. We went through tumultuous times during the last bull cycle with COVID, but we also had the government sending $600 a week to people who were laid off. Is that going to happen again under Trump? I don't know. We're talking about sending out like $5,000 checks to people with the money that was saved, allegedly, although a lot of the reports that it was shown that on Doge's website that they saved $8 billion by cutting one federal program, when actually, after it was looked into, it was fact-checked at all, it wasn't $8 billion, it was $8 million. So that was a lie. Go and check it out yourself if you want. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, Musk and Trump, they're just liars. They're liars. So can we really trust what they're doing? No, I don't. If you really trust them and just on their word, well, can we see what you're doing? Well, no. And I might be making mistakes, but just trust me. Doesn't feel so great. Anyways, all right, well, I'm gonna get off my high horse now. I'm at work and I got stuff to do, so have a good day, everyone. Bye.